v.h.s.x? What do you mean?
Alright everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. Today I wanted to talk about a bit more of a fun video, a bit more interesting, a little bit more fun, probably not really a topic that most people even care about. But I'm going to talk about it anyway, because I think it's fun. We are, today, it is comparing licensed killers to the source material. Now, as you guys know, I've joined the game specifically for the licenses, so I want to talk about this. This is a video from It's Just Ketchup, so I'll link it in the description for you to be able to watch on your own. But first and foremost, we're going to be talking about Michael Myers, which I want to give my take on Michael Myers. First and foremost, in the current patch before the rework, 100% accurate. I think it perfectly makes you feel like you're playing Michael Myers. It feels like it. His power literally functions the same way that it would in the movies, where he starts off kind of stealthy, not really doing much, kind of staring at them, and then over the course of the film he gets, more like quicker, stronger, like he's doing his thing until eventually tier 3 comes on, and then he's just one-shotting everybody. It's chaos, which is very accurate to the film. Now obviously with the rework we're getting now, that we could just throw all of that out the window. He's not going to be remotely accurate to jack shit. So let's continue.
Starting us off here is our very first licensed killer, Michael Myers. Myers has the ability to stalk survivors to grow stronger over the course of the game, starting out as a really weak killer at the start, tearing up to become a slightly better version than a normal M1 killer, to temporarily gaining the ability to insta-down survivors at his strongest tier. The farther you are from survivors, the faster your stock will increase, meaning you can tier up faster. The power itself is pretty easy to play against, but again, that's not what we're focusing on in this video. Despite being an outdated design, a massive part of why Myers is still on the higher end of pick rates despite being pretty weak is because in terms of aesthetic and faithfulness to Halloween, the power is pretty much spot on to what you'd expect from Myers. It's been said to death at this point. He does a lot of stalking in his home.
I agree. I think they completely nailed it, and then with this stupid rework, man, they took all of that out. They're like, no, let's just take the soul out of it and just make it terrible. It's like, all right, bro. Well, I'm gonna jump over to Bubba. Let me talk about Bubba real quick. Bubba, this license is also for the original film of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and they actually have the two outfits that he does appear in, which I think look fantastic. I think they perfectly translated the outfit from the film into the game. I think it looks great. I think that Leatherface, when it comes down to it, I think he's pretty accurate. He's got his chainsaw, he's got his little hammer thing, and I guess in a literal sense you're actually using hooks, so maybe you could argue, look, it's accurate to the film. But yeah, I mean, that's a fun one. I think Bubba, he even kind of sounds like him too, which is quite good as well. Now the only thing that we're missing is some music, I would say, in terms of from the film to kind of feel like that, it really captures it. And the Mori I think is okay as well. I wouldn't say it's inaccurate to the character. I think that it works perfectly. And I even think that the add-ons also fit too. I think they also are quite fitting. They don't really reference too much of the other characters in the Texas Chainsaw. I don't think so. I think they leaned a little bit more into him being taken and then his interactions with the entity, if I'm not mistaken. But let's continue and let's hear the take.
Leatherface is a pretty quick one. His whole thing in Texas Chainsaw Massacre is that he's a chainsaw-wielding cannibal who wears people's skin as a mask. In DBD, he's a chainsaw-wielding cannibal who wears people's skin as a mask. Unfortunately, thanks to Hillbilly's existence, making Leatherface stand out in comparison was going to be a challenge, but in terms of translating him over, they did an alright job. Bubba's main problem on release was that he was rushed and barely had a power and functioning add-ons because of Nightmare on Elm Street. The very next chapter a month later was on the way as well. In terms of what Bubba does, he has a chainsaw that lets him insta down multiple survivors at once, and if he hits the terrain, he begins swinging randomly while being reduced to a crawl. So, I guess in this regard they translated Bubba pretty well from TCM. The one thing he also had on release was that he had the ability to obtain headpiece cosmetics that showed him having turned the starter survivors into masks, which was a really cool detail. If it wasn't for people abusing the Claudette 1 to cause harassment. Thanks to that small minority of people, they all got removed.
Yeah, because unfortunately with the DVD community, we were really not able to have nice things. So I would agree with the grade here as well. Let me jump over to Freddy. Oh, Freddy, man. Oh man, this.
Then strong, but
Let's jump to Freddy. I want to jump to Freddy. Ooh, Freddy. Ah, man, I've been playing Freddy for quite a while. Before his rework. And if we're really talking about it, the thing with Freddy is like there's so many versions of him that we can discuss. I mean, if we're talking about when he first released, I think he was the most accurate, like right next to Myers, the most accurate Myers, like to Myers, I would say, in terms of like accuracy. They were like neck and neck. Like they both are accurate to their own source materials, like to a T. Like you could not see Freddy if you were awake. You could see him while you were asleep. He can't hit you unless you're asleep. And using dream powers and stuff like that. Like all that was freaking cool. Then obviously that got changed. And then it was using snares and dream palettes, depending on your add-on. And that also was kind of most people didn't really enjoy that. I did enjoy using the dream palettes more. I did end up using a lot more snares later on as I got more experienced with Freddy. And then they reworked it again, so now you explode pallets and you can shoot snares. So it's like, okay, la-di-da. Now, we also have to keep in mind that this particular license is for the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. So that obviously means not really great, I would say in comparison. Now, the thing is with the remake, we really did not see Freddy do much. So it really... Like I would say, like I absolutely love the filter that he applies to the map because that's extremely accurate to the source material. But obviously, Freddy really did not really use much dream powers in the movie per se that you can translate into the game. Now, obviously, this has been a point of discussion with Freddy for quite a while, where it was like there's so many ways you could have taken it, and it just wasn't taken at all. Obviously, and instead he just became like Clown 2.0. So, and if I were to talk about that, I mean, it really just depends on the version. I think he's definitely like way less accurate than he was in the film compared to now. It's fine. And obviously, if we're comparing it to the non-remake license, I mean, night and day difference. Not even the same character, like not even the same guy. So yeah, same weapon, I guess, but that's it. So I'm gonna jump ahead and move over to Pig. Yeah, let's move over to Pig.
Pig is the Saw rep of the game, and this is one I feel was pretty straightforward to port over, as the reverse bear traps was Amanda's trial, and this is also just one of the most iconic traps in the series, so making them equipable on downs to force survivors to tend to them to avoid dying is basically spot on. Amanda in general was probably one of the better picks for killers in this game, so while the ambush feature seems a little extra so she wasn't completely powerless beyond the traps, the reverse bear traps, aside...
Okay, so we just kind of jumped right in for the grade, like barely. Okay, so I'll touch on this real quick. So I do think that the Saw representation was very good. I vividly remember the sort of trailer for it. It was fantastic. I think that the Amanda Young being the killer is fantastic. Now, and even the reverse bear traps are fantastic. The cosmetics, I think the only one that I have an issue with was the sort of Amanda Reborn kind of outfit where it has like the iconic black and red jacket that they wear, like the little robe. And unfortunately it's like opened and it's not like closed like how it normally is in the movies, so that I kind of have an issue with, unfortunately. I would say that if they had a version that was way more accurate to the film, and if the pig masks were a bit more closer in line to kind of what we expect from the film, I would say. But overall, I would still say that the design is fantastic. fantastic. And the weapon, iconic as well. Head traps as well. The I also have to say that the growl that is done when she ambushes is also extremely accurate to the film, the source material, because when you do see jump scares and things like that that do happen in the Saw franchise, when the pig does pop out, you do hear that growling noise. So I think that's sort of what they're trying to reference with the ambush. It's quite literally called an ambush because that's what they do in the films. And the only thing that I will say though is that it doesn't necessarily have anything against, like, it doesn't really represent like Saw as like the philosophy with Saw or anything like that. But that's fine, of course. I also do like the fact that it is like an iconic bear trap, like reverse bear trap and everything. That's what she did. But obviously at the time, like within the lore, she was supposed to be like rigging the traps at that point to like try to like remove people from the from existence in that sense. So yeah, I mean, I would say that element does not exist. Obviously, they simply are unable to die in a lot of cases because it is very easy to get the head traps off. There is a randomness to it, obviously, but like it's extremely rare to get a head trap to pops, at this point. So I would say if I were to give it my own grade, I would say like I would probably say a same way that Ketchup is saying it too. I would have to say if I had to choose. Oh boy. Oh man, now Ghostface is up next. Oh brother, dude. If I were to rank the accuracy to the source material, we have to keep in mind that you could here's two ways to put this, all right? And I've spoken about this extensively. If I were to give a rating for Ghostface, comparing him to the source material, right? If we're completely going to sit here and compare him to the source material, then you could say on that front it kind of is open-ended, because if we're talking specifically about Ghostface from Fun World, that pretty much isn't, I don't think there's really that much information on that sort of character with Ghost, space, Ghost, a space, then the word face, like that version of Ghost face, like from the like Halloween stores and all that kind of stuff with Fun World, that character being represented. I mean, maybe not. And even the default outfit does not even match at all what you see from the license, like, of the mask. And when they have like the when they have displays and things like that, the outfit does not match at all. The weapon does match, I would say, at least. And if we're talking about the Scream license, the only thing that's accurate is the mask in itself. So it's also inaccurate to that. It's also inaccurate to the characters of Scream, because none of them are Danny Johnson, of course. It's a completely original character, so it's not even close. In terms of gameplay, I would say that it probably fits Ghostface as a concept. Like if we're talking about somebody from Scream, for example, just picking up a costume and just like slashing up people that they know, hey, that pretty much makes sense. Like stalking around, he pops up out of nowhere, gets an ambush off, yada yada yada. That I would say is accurate to what you would expect. However, everything else is not accurate to either form of source material per se, because the only thing that was licensed was the mask. And obviously with the mask, I mean, how much can we attach to that besides either the film it comes from or seeing it in a Halloween store? So I mean, I would have to give it I would probably have to give it an F tier, or no, not even. Okay, let me not jump that far ahead. Let's say we'll give it a C tier in terms of accuracy. It's really just the only thing that really is represented is the gameplay, but nothing in the game really is representative of that at all, in my opinion. Now, the next one we're gonna jump to is Demogorgon. Demogorgon's a little bit of a fun one. I actually have been watching a lot of Stranger Things in the past, and I gotta say, I think Demogorgon's representation is 10 out of 10. The add-ons are completely representative of the source material. It references characters, it references things like that. and the iconic like screeching makes sense, like the character like as a monster makes sense. The ability to like teleport around through like those little tunnels and stuff like that makes sense. It even came with a map, which was also directly taken Hawkins or directly taken from the show, like the laboratory and stuff like that. Literally like 10 out of 10. I mean, like one of the most like the greatest I would say in terms of accuracy. um like I think they knocked it out of the park, honestly, when it came down to that. They and I gotta say, I mean, there's no other way to go about it. I mean, it's a pretty simple character, you know what I mean? It just like kind of slashes you, or it dashes at you, and then it screeches. I mean, it's pretty one note, but you get it, you know what I mean? Now, the only thing I will say though is that the cosmetics are not necessarily from the show. They're actually just brand new from the actual like, you know, they basically made up lore reasons as to why, but we have like different forms of Demogorgon that appear, uh some kind of mutations apparently in the fog. So there's that, of course. Oh man, I want to jump ahead. Pyramid Head is Pyramid Head. Oh boy, Pyramid Head is another one, dude. Pyramid Head's lore is not, and it's one of the points that I always bring up when talking about Pyramid Head in this game, is that the lore is just simply not accurate to the actual character, to the actual source material of Silent Hill 2. And I understand that that this particular chapter was more supposed to be representative of Silent Hill in general, because we have the map included, which was Midwich, and I do want to include the fact that Cheryl is obviously from Silent Hill 3. So we're taking a character from Silent Hill 2 that's very iconic. We're taking another character from Silent Hill 3 that's also iconic, and trying to kind of mesh them together into the fog. And obviously, lore-wise, does not hit at all. Like, it's not at all how that works. Like, as everybody has stated in nauseum, like Pyramid Head is a James Sunderland like, you know, monster, not for anybody else. It's supposed to be specifically for what's you know, how Silent Hill reflects the person that enters it. So that to him is representative to him. I would love to talk about Silent Hill lore, but unfortunately, I don't think I would be able to on the channel. But let me know if you guys would want to see it, because I know it's not necessarily DBD related. So for all of you that maybe want to hear me yap about Silent Hill lore and talk about in massive excruciating detail about like how much, you know, Silent Hill like lore is, you know, and all the intricacies of that, I think just let me know. Support the video, man, and let me know, man, because I would love to talk about it, but it is a DBD channel, so we have to be kind of wary. But either way, when it comes down to how he is like played, I would say that it is also brand new to his character, obviously, because he has never, you know, had an ability to like play barbed wire and like shoot things out. But the weapon is accurate. The add-ons are also like also reference Silent Hill 2, which is wonderful. And you know, side note, obviously we're not talking about these survivors being added into chapters, but at least James is a skin, so for Cheryl, so you can actually encounter James and make it more accurate in that sense. Now, like I've said, the low, I would give this sort of like a B rating if I were to give it accuracy, because it's like it's close, like the sounds make sense, the appearance makes sense, the map is fantastic that they got added in as well, which you can, you know, obviously capture that. And the power, you know, the weapon, I mean, I wouldn't say is as accurate, but I feel like it would make sense for a character like this. And like barbed wire and stuff like that, I feel like I've seen that, like those kinds of elements in Silent Hill a lot anyway. And the add-ons are great and stuff like that for actually staying true to the source material and things like that. So overall, I would have to give it like a good, like a B tier if I had to rank it by letters. About a B tier in terms of accuracy. Okay, so the next one is Nemesis. So with Nemesis, I think Nemesis is a little bit different. I think Nemesis was a bit misrepresented in this game. I do like the idea that we bring zombies into the game. I do like the fact that uh he feels a bit like Nemesis. Like he has big stomps. He kicks the gen with one kick, like boom, and he like punches you, and it's like it's cool. Now the only thing is the like tentacle thing. I feel like is a little bit less so what I would kind of expect from Nemesis, especially when we are talking about like accuracy to the source material. Like you're almost there, and then we kind of forget the fact that he's not like he's pretty fast in the game. Like he's not really that slow. Like he can be, but if he wants to, he'll really like speed up. You know what I mean? He'll speed up to you, and he'll knock you down. You know what I mean? He's definitely a threat, especially in the lore. Now, obviously within the game, he's nothing like that. Obviously, he's just kind of somewhat of a ranged killer similar to Pyramid Head, where he just kind of whips. Now, with that being said, however, the add-ons also are true to the source material. Like we have references like the Liquor Tongue, which is which is a liquor is an enemy from Resident Evil. We have Marvin's Blood, which is one of those characters that did end up perishing, if you will, and it's an add-on, so that's pretty sick. And then you have like references to Jill, like with the Jill sandwich and the ink ribbon for saving things, and the like the other add-on with the broken badge and stuff like that. Like those are all very accurate to the source material and stuff like that. And even some of the perks, I feel like the Pursuer, like in its name, is like literally what he does in the games. He's pursuing the characters, like specifically Jill, and I think in this case, and stuff like that. And I gotta say that really is cool. Now, I don't believe they really captured the character that well in the sense of what the power does, but the Mori is quite good, I will say. Besides that, the only fault point is quite literally just what the power does. So I would have to give it like an A. I can't say it would be like an S tier, but I would say like an A. Like we're pretty close. We're just not right. We're just like not hitting it. We're just not hitting that same sort of point, I would say, in that sense. Oh, now we're jumping into Pinhead here. So with Pinhead here, try to skip over that. So with Pinhead, I think Pinhead was represented perfectly. I do think it was a little bit lacking in terms of the cosmetics, of course, because I think that it just ended up like not panning out where we could have received the other Cenobites. So I think that I'm gonna take off a couple points for that. In terms of translating a character like like Pinhead, like Cenobites, specifically the Chatterer, and into this game, I think, considering that the game is a cat and mouse experience, and having a character like this kind of having to chase people, I think they did it quite well. Like to be able to summon a chain to slow them down so they can catch up does make sense, especially when it comes down to the lore. So because obviously you're also the box being literally a part of their power is awesome. I think that is perfect in terms of how accurate it is to the source material. And I think that having the box be a way to teleport as well, when Pinhead and they're like using the box and he can teleport to them, is quite literally what he does in the movies. When you mess with the box, he does show up. So I think that they did that perfectly. I think they did that fantastically. And I'm a fan of that. I'm really a fan of that. And I think they really knocked it out of the park. The next one we're gonna jump to is Sadako, which with Sadako, I think it's another character that I think was represented quite well considering the source material. Like she quite literally, her teleport is her coming out of the TV every time. Like that is fantastic. And same thing with Pinhead, same thing with Pyramid Head, the same thing with Myers and stuff like that. When we're really hitting an accurate like licensed representation, we get a lot of great references to the source material that it comes from, and we get that once again when it comes down to Sadako. Maybe not as much as like Pinhead or Pyramid Head, but I would still say pretty close in that sense. Now, when it comes down to to this particular license. I think it was handled quite well. I think that there's a lot of little details that Sadako has that really references those things, like little ocean noises and like static, because she's like messing around with like TVs and things like that, and using psychic abilities with her way to incorporate the whole cat and mouse experience by literally like hitting people with like a little essentially like a freaking air palm, like from freaking Naruto. At that point, like, you're just like hitting people with like a little symbol, pretty much, is insane. And I think that is a great way to sort of incorporate that, because she is not ever seen actually directly attacking people, but if she's using her psychic abilities to do so, I think that is quite good, and I think that's fantastic. I think they really handled it quite well. So I would have to give it a pretty high score, if you ask me. I think they handled it quite well, because we're trying to basically take characters that are very like non cat and mouse focused characters and have more psychic abilities or more hands-free abilities, like Pinhead, like Sadako, which are not directly like slashing up people, but they're using things like they summon to do those things, or they're using their psychic abilities to do those things. A bit more hands-free in that sense. To be able to kind of give them something to do is very fun. Like the same way that that Pinhead is able to summon a chain and kind of like tell it to hit the survivor, is the same way that Sadako can make a little air sigil thing just kind of pop up, which I'm probably like, which I'm I know I'm not calling it the right thing, but I think, okay, so we're at Wesker. Wesker, I think, is like a 10 out of 10. I mean, I think it goes without saying. I think they captured the personality, they really get the add-ons reflected as well, his ability reflected as well. His literal M1 is quite literally a reference to one of the Resident Evil games. I think it was Resident Evil Revelations or Revelations 2. And the add-ons are also referential to items in the games, like the herbs, the egg, like all those things. As well as, the only thing that I would say is, obviously you can't really incorporate in the game is how fast he moves per se, because he's incredibly fast in Resident Evil 5. And obviously with the dash, it's like close enough. I mean, obviously lore accurate Wesker would be really, really, really insane. But yeah, I would say that they really knocked it out of the park with Wesker too. I think he's like a 10 out of 10. So I wanted to jump ahead, because I want to be able to kind of give like my takes on being well versed in a lot of the source material that I'm talking about. So Chucky is definitely next on my list. I think Chucky is, in my opinion, like the crowning king of representation for the source material in DBD, in my opinion. Especially when Myers used to be at the top spot, and even Freddy used to be at the top spot, and now they've fallen into the wayside in terms of accuracy to their source material. I think Chucky is still able to hold his own in terms of the source material, because quite literally, every add-on that Chucky has is a reference to something in the Chucky franchise. All the films and even the TV show, all those add-ons have at least a reference to one of those films, and that is incredible. Like that, I don't think anybody talks about that. Secondly, I have to talk about the fact that they even have cosmetics directly taken from the film, where they even have Tiffany being included in here, which is incredible. Then you also have the other like sort of like scarred, like chopped up Chucky cosmetic as well, that also appeared in Bride of Chucky as well. One of my number one favorite cosmetics in the game. So I have to say, in terms of accuracy to the source material, we're already knocking it out of the park off the bat. Then we got the incredible voice lines, which is very, very accurate to what Chucky would even say in a film. And then on top of that, the ability literally just is exactly what I would expect Chucky to do. And he actually did do something similar in the film. He quite literally would run, like, I remember, I think it was even in the first film, he ran up, jumped in the air, and like to go ahead and to shank somebody up. And that is incredible. I absolutely love that. That's awesome. I'm a huge fan of that. And even furthermore than that, I have to say that it even just feels like you're playing Chucky, which I gotta say, you're a tiny little dude walking around. You even get Charles Lee Ray, his soul, to come out and help you lift up survivors and lift you up to Hook and stuff like that, and pull them out lockers and things. Like, it's just like there is no other way to say it. Like, Chucky is the crowning top level, like the most accurate to the source material we could get, I think, at this point. It's just fantastic. I mean, I probably missed something when talking about these details. Oh, I just remembered. Even the Mori has references to things that were being used in the films, especially the ruler in the Mori and stuff like that. Absolutely fantastic. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. I wish more licenses were like this, especially being a Ghostface main. It's a goddamn shame. Like, as much as I love Chucky, I main Chucky as well, and it's like, just damn, like the main, like the character that I'm messing with, and it's like it's not even Scream, dude. Like, it's just a mask. It's like, goddamn, dude. So yeah. So that's going to be the end of the video for today. It's been a bit of a yap session, but if you guys want to see the original video, it'll be linked in the description. You can go ahead and watch it. Hear Ketchup's takes, see the rankings, and watch see the other parts. Like, what other licenses I didn't cover in the video, because I wanted to specifically cover stuff that I know the most about. There's some licenses that are talked about that I pretty much am not an expert in to be able to give that much information about and to be able to compare. So go ahead and give that a watch. I will see you guys in the next one. Go ahead and check the description for ways to support the channel. Consider following on TikTok and Twitch to watch me play Killer live. I will see you guys in the next one.